Osama says. GG.
That's how you get a win.
What is up, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to be talking about how to overcome this recession and or crash, especially for you gamers out there who are planning to buy the Xbox Series X, the PS5, or even just waiting for that 3080 graphic card to come out and upgrade your system, your computer system. How should you go about ultimately having enough money for those things, and how you should go about ultimately to be able to get through this whole recession, get through this whole crash, possibly get through the whole fact that you're going to be potentially losing your job or having your parents lose their job, so you may have to work yourself. Whether you're in high school or currently in college, you may have to, support your family some way, somehow to help out, because everybody is in a very potential bad position. So this is really what this video is going to be about. It's kind of just talking about some of the aspect of kind of overcoming the stock market recession or potential crash. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor in any sort of way. This is just my personal opinion based on my experience and hours and hours and hours of financial research, whether it's reading books, reading blog posts, just following podcasts, and etc. Without further ado, we're gonna get right into it. Enjoy the gameplay in the background. This is me pretty much just winning one game and then getting second place in the secondary game. Alright, we're gonna start pretty much with this. Alright guys, I know you hear this all the time, which is basically you hear this from your parents all the way up, from your teachers, possibly all the way up to your financial advisor. The first thing that you really want to focus on is save, save, save. I'm saying this 3 times because the first 2 times you probably didn't even listen. Because in all honesty, saving is gonna be key throughout this whole financial hardship that a lot of us are gonna be going through. Just the fact that we're gonna need to have some sort of saving. This is the best time for you to start your emergency fund for those of you that do not have one. This is the best time for you to kind of put money aside for that PS5, the Xbox, and that gaming setup that you want for your new PC. Because some of you may not want to spend any more money on your credit cards, so you don't get those horrible interest rate and whatnot. So you may as well save. So this is really where everything comes down to. You really want to start by saving for the for at least a month worth of emergency saving. Recommended saving is going to be 6 months. But let's be real, a lot of us are going to be going through a lot of hardships. We're going to have to be potentially losing our jobs. We're going to have to find jobs that may not pay as well as a previous one. So realistically, you may want to just have at least maybe 50 to 100 to potentially $500 saved up every single month to start building that emergency fund all the way until you're capable of have that money make more money for you. Because I will talk down the road on how you can ultimately use that savings into investing into this down market, which ultimately is going to lead to more money down the road. You really want to focus on next is ultimately paying all and every single negative debt that you have. This ultimately is any debt above that 10% interest rate. So pretty much all of your credit card debt and potential student loans, for those of you that have those super high student loans up to 15%. This is just one of those thresholds. You don't want to sit on those debt, because especially if you have to lower down your earnings every single month because your job is ultimately cutting some of you, or potentially you may have to find a secondary job that pays even less than what you already have. You're gonna have to pay those interest cards still to this day, and you're gonna lose in the long term. You're really gonna be losing on the upside of the market recovering of the current period of recession or crash that we're gonna be going through. So this is really where it comes down to. You need to pay off those credit cards. Don't sit around, let it just kind of, ride it out. You can't do that because it's just gonna lead to more debt down the road. So this is really where you want to focus on paying those loans as much as you save. Once you manage to save enough money for your emergency funds, once you manage to pay off all and any of the negative debt, that's pretty much any debt that's above the 10% threshold, and at that point then you can start looking into what I called deals. Those deals can range anywhere between a super nice and affordable house that at this point is probably 30 to even anywhere between 40% below market value. Those are back in 2008's time period. You may not see those in the general area that you live at, especially if you're in the coastal area like California, like I am at. You might see around between the 15 to potentially 20% shortfall in prices, which is still a great and ultimately a decent deal from the peaks. So those are really the deals that you want to look for. For those of you that are out there that absolutely love cars, those are the perfect time for you to buy that, sports car that you actually like. So for me, it's the Corvette. Corvette C7 is the one deal that I'm absolutely looking for. It's something that I've been looking forward to for the past year or so, and I've been keeping track of the prices, the current prices, the future prices, and whatnot. So when the market pretty much starts falling down into a recession, I'm expecting prices to fall because people are going to have to sell in order for them to backtrack. So this is the perfect time for you to start buying those things that you want. Ultimately, whether it's a computer, whether it's a car, or it's just simply a house. Those are just humongous deals. Now keep in mind, cars do not bring that much value. They usually actually lose value over time. Houses are really the ones that you want to look for when it comes to good values and ultimately good deals. So you have the houses, and then the next step is me talking about the stock market and some of those things that you can ultimately do that are going to benefit you in the future. The first bigger deal that you really want to look at is into real estate. Look into flippers, look into foreclosure housing, and just look at housing in general that being sold by sellers and or by realtors that are anywhere between 15 to 25% from their peak. For those of you that are ultimately afraid of a humongous purchase or just not eligible to make such a purchase as a real estate or home, you can start looking into your retirement funds. So this is your 401ks, your TSPs accounts, and any sort of future funds, whether it's your index funds, your 20-year yield bond funds and stuff like that. The reason being is with the market being down, let's say 20 to anywhere 30%, depending on what time frame you're looking at this video, that is the perfect time for you to start investing heavy into the stock market, because the average recovery period for the market to go back to what it was, it's ultimately about 24 to 36 months. So you really want to start looking into, hey, let me invest now, not so much for tomorrow, but for down the road where I can recoup that 20% plus more of whatever is coming next. So it's the 2008 crash that we had. The market went over 200%. So right now we're going through some sort of recession. So you can potentially start looking and not so much trying to time the perfect market at the lowest point, but just kind of invest just regular money, just same regular sum of, let's say, minimum of $50 a month. Just kind of put it in there. Don't look at it. Don't put it out anytime soon. Just let it sit there for a period of time, and then you're gonna see not just only the money that you put in, but the humongous difference between what you put in and ultimately what you're gonna get in return down the road. This is really where the importance of investing when the recession happens is. There's more millionaires being built and made during the recessions and any sort of crash than any other time in the US history. So this is really where you want to invest more money into your future. I understand not everyone might be able to do that, but at least maybe $1 or $2 that you put aside and then you can open a potential CD and start putting money into it. You're gonna beat inflation with just those basic formula. Wrap up this video, I really want to end on this note that once you have managed to save for your emergency fund, you have managed to pay off any and all credit card debt and any sort of negative debt. And then from there you have moved into potentially investing in your future, whether that is in your 401ks, into current index funds, or just regular funds. Then you can start looking into real estate and those bigger sort of investments. Obviously, you're gonna need some sort of income at that point. You're gonna need a W-2 and whatnot. So some of you might not be eligible. But on the bright side of things, you're gonna be able to find things like cars and things that you potentially enjoy more for a cheaper price. So that is actually the best time for you to start looking into buying those things. Like I said earlier, I am personally looking into buying a C7 Corvette, if not a C8 at that point. It all depends on the price and whether or not I see value in those things. If you look into real estate, you really want to focus in deals that are anywhere between 15 to 30% below the market peak of 2019/previous years. So if you're buying a $500,000 house, the peak would potentially be anywhere about 550,000, if not a little bit lower. Not good when it comes to mental math like that. But you really want to focus. The next step will really be you focusing on spending less. Not so much less because of the recession, but more or less into the fact that you want to start living a little bit more frugal. This is the time in which you just reset. Tempt yourself, analyze who you are, see what you like, see what you don't like, and just sort of spend more money into yourself.
He's by himself, push down, he's by himself down here.
On needed materialistic things. The market is not as good as it used to be, so you may not have as much money for you to be spending. Without any further ado, enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you for watching. Write down in the comment section, and see you on the next video.